M check. So every time you get your bike out, you should do an M check, which is basically an M shape across the bike, ensuring that everything is nice and tight and roadworthy. Now things do move around when you're putting in the car or you're traveling around, so always perform this M check before every ride that you do. So the very first thing we do is we start at the bottom of the N, and we're going to start with the front skewer. So if you look at the skewer, it should be nice and tight with the lever of the skewer facing backwards or up against the fork of the front wheel. So make sure that's nice and tight. The next thing we're going to do is check tyre pressure to give it good press. If you've got a track pump, you could test to see if it's about 100 psi. I recommend about 100 psi because any less, you're more likely to get punctures. Any more, you're more likely, if the weather's hot, to experience a blowout. So 100's a happy medium. If it is raining, you could have it as low as 80, and what that does is it makes the tyre slightly wider on the surface of the road, so there's more rolling resistance, and that will mean that you're less likely to slip on corners and things. Okay, so we've checked the tyre pressure, we've checked the front skewer. Next we're going to check the brakes, and the way you do that is you spin the front wheel forwards, and if there's any rubbing, you'll hear the brakes rubbing, and then we're going to test the brake. Now it should be the right hand brake on English bikes. On European bikes it will be the left hand brake, so the right hand brake is the front brake. Okay, check the calipers down. The next check we do is the main cockpit. This is called the cockpit of the bike, and we're going to push down on the handlebars and pull both brakes and see if there's any kind of rocking. There shouldn't be any rocking movement here. If there is, it means that the headset needs tightening up. Okay, so make sure the front brake is working and there's no rocking. You don't want your handlebars to drop down if you're going down a hill at great speed, because that could be very frightening. Another check you need to do is check that you have bar end. So I'm missing a bar end here. And most races won't allow you to race if you don't have a bar end, so always have some spares and make sure you have. So I need to get a new one for there, and that's if you have an accident, if you come off, that can go through your leg. That's the reason why you have that. So we've done the first upward section of the M. Then we go down and we're going to check the pedals, make sure they're finger tight so they're not going to undo as you're cycling along. They shouldn't do, because as you cycle forward they should be tightening up anyway. And then we're going to check the cranks. These are cranks. We're going to check them for any lateral movement. So these are nice and solid, so that's fine. Then we're coming back up. We're going to check the water bottle cages to make sure that they're nice and tight, and then check the other crank and the other pedal. Okay, up to the saddle. So for the saddle, we want to twist it side to side. It shouldn't have any movement, and then up and down. So push down on the back, pull up on the front, and vice versa. We've got to make sure that that saddle's not going to drop or going to turn around when you're racing. Also, if you've got a saddle bag, make sure that's all secure and not swinging around too much. Then we're going back down now, so we're going to check the rear caliper of the back wheel. So it's on, the lever is down, so the brake's going to be maximum traction there, and you spin the wheel forwards. Always spin the wheel forwards. If you spin the wheel backwards, the pedals go round and it'll hit you in the back of the leg. So always spin the wheel forwards. Okay, that works. And let's see if the back brake works. So it's the brake on the left, so that works well. And the final check is you're going to check the back skewer, make sure that's nice and tight. So there's one final thing we can do. If you've got gloves on, you can just spin the wheel very slowly around, and with the palm of your hand with the gloves, just make sure that there's no flint or glass stuck in the tyres. If you see any, you can pull it out and maybe put some glue in there to fill the hole, but just check the tyre to make sure that you haven't got any flint, and that will save you getting a puncture. Okay, that is an M check. You should do that for every ride.